Today on Things Green, we're visiting Nan Rae, an artist known for Chinese brush painting. And she is going to teach us how to make beautiful garden paintings with simple watercolors.
Okay, just as I promised, Nan, I brought my brush.
I love it. You're good to go.
We are. Okay, so this style that we're calling this brush.
Chinese brush painting based on the literati. We don't do any sketching first. We don't make any corrections. We go for it. It's pomo or throw ink or splash ink.
Okay.
So the whole idea is just to go for it. Put an idea. It's called written idea. So you put an idea on the paper.
Okay. Right off the bat, I'm intrigued because we're talking my language here, right here. And why do we have these coins here?
Well, because the paper is so thin and absorbent, it can move about. Okay. So I just put these little paperweights there. And these are actual coins, by the way. Chinese
now, what kind
coins.
of paper is this?
This is made out of mulberry.
Okay. So what are we going to be doing today?
Well, today I thought I'd do a poppy for you.
Okay. Great.
How about that?
All right. So we're going to start off. Now, what are we doing here? We're just using
We're going to introduce the brush to water.
Oh, it's water. I was going to say, I didn't smell any turpentine or anything.
No, we don't.
So this is all watercolor stuff.
This is all Western watercolor with a couple of exceptions. It's a water-based media.
Okay.
So you just make sure all the hairs of the brush are wet and also that the brush comes to a nice point.
Oh,
okay. And then I'm going to pick up some of the color just at the tip of the brush and work it in, but only work it in about halfway up the brush. I want to keep a water base in the brush.
So we have the actual paint in here, and here you have more of the water plus the paint.
Exactly right, exactly. And so we're going to set forth. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, don't blink or you'll miss it.
All right, let's see what we have here.
Here we go.
Oh, that is so cool.
Wow, thank you.
Hey, look, wait. This is cool. Look how this is. It's lighter up here and darker down here.
Exactly. Remember I said that I want to keep that water base at the top. Yeah. And that's how we get that nice transition.
Okay, but wait. You also went and you just dabbed it here.
Right, because the paper is so absorbent, even though I'm working rapidly, if the brush is too wet, it's just going to bleed all over the place.
Okay.
And get me in trouble.
Oh, we don't want to do that.
So we don't want that.
Last thing was the paint authorities coming down here.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so we get a little bit more.
Checking up on me.
Okay, wait. Okay, now you confused me. You dipped it in here, but you didn't dip it in here this time.
Well,
does it make a difference?
I thought it was okay.
You did, okay.
So
really, this kind of painting. So really, all this kind of painting is just kind of gut feeling stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And after a while, you get a sense of what's going on the brush and on your palette. You just have a feel for it.
Okay.
And you go with it. Sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're not. But when you're not, happy accidents happen. And that's what gives the painting spontaneity in life.
Okay.
So we're not about doing a perfect painting.
Okay.
So if you're expecting that, that's somewhere else.
Forget that.
It's not going to be there. Right.
Okay.
So continuing on with this.
Yeah. Now I'm also noticing that you're really holding this kind of light. You're not pressing down hard.
That's a great observation because you're really just glancing over the paper.
Okay.
And most people are surprised by that. With students, when I hold their hand, when they have their brush ready to go, they're shocked at how light the pressure is.
Yeah, I can see that.
Wow, you have a great sense of observation.
You know what? I'm an artist deep inside.
Way deep.
Way deep.
Way deep. Okay. So maybe after this we'll bring that way out, right? Okay. So just finishing up here. Okay. So that's the base. This is the part of the poppy that is facing away from us. Okay. Okay. And then next we're going to do the part that's facing towards us.
Okay.
So I like that you're okay with it so far.
Yeah, not a problem there. I'm just trying not to get poked in the eye there.
Okay,
with
right, I know, exactly.
So.
Okay, so now I'm doing a little bit differently.
Okay, and you work really quick, too.
And you work very rapidly.
Yeah.
Right? And the faster you go, the more success you'll have with your painting.
And this is the type of style of painting to where you're not going over and over again. It's
you don't go over anything. You don't make any corrections. Okay? And that can be a little bit disconcerting for people, but I say, well, you just have to live with it. Right. It's like a conversation. You wouldn't say to the person, could we go over that, please?
Yeah. Well, I have to at my dinner table all the time.
Really? Okay. So hopefully at this point you can tell that that's a poppy.
Yeah, starting to form there.
Okay, absolutely. Now you really can't blink or you're going to miss it.
All right.
Okay, so I'm taking low sap green and
look at that.
And then the leaves of the poppy are not the most beautiful part. They're very straggly, as you know. And so we're just going to try and indicate that with a few rapid strokes. So do we want to see a bud?
No, I actually like it the way it is.
Okay, so
otherwise we're going to have all kinds of buds and things going on there. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. This was so fun.
I don't know what it is, Nan, but every time I come visit you, my beard gets shorter and shorter for some reason.
I know, you're needed.
Brushes are so important in what you do.
It's all about the brush. And it's called brush painting.
Yes.
So, yes.
And you have certain brushes do certain things as opposed to others.
Exactly. It's crucial to use the right brush for the task at hand. So this is a soft brush. It's made out of rabbit or goat hair. And it's for doing large expanses. A beginner would not want to use this brush. It's very hard to control. And then we have the hard brushes. These are made out of wolf or deer hair. And this is really the basic brush for most strokes. And finally, we have a brush called a mountain horse brush.
Mountain horse brush.
Right, and it's very coarse. You can feel how coarse the hairs are.
Wow.
So this would be used to paint rocks or mountains or branches where you want to get that texture going on.
You know, it just fascinates me. Who's that person that wakes up one morning and says, I'm going to chase down a rabbit, a mountain goat, or a mountain horse.
So I can paint today.
So I can paint today.
Right.
Well, this is really fascinating, but at the very same time, I'm getting a little scared for some reason.
You should.
So, excuse me.
Well, Nick, that's very good.
I tell you, I think I'm getting, look at this. Got a little beard going on over here too, huh?
Actually, I'll give you an A+ because you're great at moisture control and handling the tip of the brush. So that's very good. And you almost have bamboo leaves there.
Almost.
So
okay.
That's
Bravo. And I'm just going to
sign it. Right. There you go. Okay.
Well, I understand that you're going to show me a special kind of monochromatic style of painting.
And actually, most Chinese brush painting and Japanese painting, the Chinese Buddhist monks took the technique to Japan and they developed Sumi, which means ink painting. Okay. So that's very monochromatic.
And again, we're being inspired because bamboo, things from the outside, we bring in that outdoor element indoors, encapsulated on a piece of paper, and then we can give it away. We can sell it, or we can buy it from you. Whatever the case may be.
Whatever.
So how do we start?
Yes. Well, first of all, I do want to tell you about the bamboo because the reason why it's so treasured is because in the wind the bamboo bends. It doesn't break. Yeah. And so this is one of the 4 gentlemen of brush paintings. So we have the bamboo, Chinese orchid, the mum, and the plum.
Really?
And bamboo was one of the first subjects to come from calligraphy. So it was the first subjects ever painted.
Now, I used to do calligraphy when I was 16, 17 years old.
Okay, but it wasn't Chinese calligraphy.
No, it wasn't.
All right, so it's way different.
Yeah, but I can make a really gnarly looking R.
Really? Okay.
Okay, so we start off with the same thing. We start off with our mulberry paper.
Exactly
and
right.
We have a
paintbrush. And this is smaller.
Oh, much smaller.
Yes, much smaller. So I'm using a detail brush, and I'm shaping the tip. And we're just going to start out, and we're going to paint a couple of stems. And you'll notice that the angle is very narrow on each of these stems. When the brush, sometimes the brush can skip the paper. You never want to try and fill that in because it's just not going to happen. So you just carry on from there. And you want each one of these to be relatively straight, but that slight change in angle will curve the branch. Can you see how the branch is curving? It is what it is, right? It is. Okay, so let's just do one more branch and we'll try and get it together here.
Okay, and we're still following that 1/3 rule where you want to make sure 1/3 white, or not necessarily white, but 1/3 blank.
Blank, and so we'll just let our minds wander in that 1/3. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it with these 2 branches, and let's maybe get something going on here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my larger brush. This is called an orchid bamboo brush. And I'm going to pick up some ink. This time I want the brush to be...
That's a lot of ink.
It's a lot of ink. But notice that I'm taking all the ink out again. Yeah. And the reason for that is if there's any water left in the brush, it's going to bleed on me.
I see.
So I want to be sure that I only have ink in the brush. Okay. And when you do the bamboo leaves, it's all done from the shoulder.
Okay.
So we're just going to do groupings of leaves, and then this might be a little tricky because I'm going up and then down. And when that splits, that's called flying white, and that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so anytime...
I kind of had that going on over here.
You really did. I can see that your chi was very powerful there. It was really, you were working your chi.
Okay, and I see that you're not attaching it.
Oh, you are so good at observing. It's really knocking me out. Right, the leaves do not have to land on the stems itself.
Oh, fascinating.
And also, for new students, they usually have all of these connected, but it really works out better if there's space in between. Okay, so here's my major grouping, okay? And that's a grouping of 5 leaves, and maybe I can do some here. And again, notice I'm not moving my fingers. I'm just, well, I hate to use your masterpiece, so.
I understand. This is going on eBay or someplace.
Right, I think so. Right, it could. Okay. So, and then the young new leaves. This is called rainy day bamboo, where all the leaves are tending down.
I see.
Okay, so I don't need much more here to have my painting. Well, let's get something here. Maybe that. Okay, done.
I really enjoy the simplicity behind all this.
Right,
you don't
exactly.
Have to, and what also is pretty miraculous about this is that if a person is color challenged or really want to get into some of the new art that's around, but it's ancient new art.
Exactly right.
That's what's really cool.
Exactly. Right.
Well, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I'm goofing around in your garden and I find a whole bunch of rocks and they're beautiful, but they're only half. What's going on with these?
Well, that makes the flat surface. These are all hand carved. These are called mood or side seal because they're placed at the side of the painting.
Oh.
And this says, life spent like this would be joyful indeed.
Nice. And I see we have some other beautiful samples of these as well.
Yes, this one, this beautiful one, you can see the carving on it is so exceptional. And that says the chi of the brush, and I had that carved because of my book, The Chi of the Brush.
That is awesome. And being that this is a real rock material, with the carving in here is just amazing.
Isn't it beautiful?
Okay, so obviously you get writer's cramp, so you don't want to sign them all.
Right.
How do we sign these things?
Okay. This happens to be the most valuable one of all because it's my name.
It's you, huh?
Yes, so I don't want to lose this or damage it. All right, and we're going to put this in an oil-based ink pad. And then I like to put a magazine or these Post-its will work fine underneath, and that will give me just the right consistency to place my seal. Just
Look at
right
that.
there.
Signed, sealed,
And delivered.